Hello, Rural Employment colleagues. My name is Nguyen Hương Cha from ILO Hanoi office. I'm running the Rural Youth Employment Program in Vietnam. Today, I'm very honored to share with you what we're doing in the Vietnam's program. Vietnam has a big population, 90 million people. 70% comes from rural area. We also have a large and young working population, 71% again come from the rural area. So rural development is a priority. The Rural Youth Employment Program in Vietnam is very much aligned with the country's rural modernization policy and the strengthening of young women and men from the rural area and the disadvantaged groups as a priority. The first question to answer is with whom you should work with to reach rural youth. In Vietnam we say, a solid house grows from the solid foundation. So we choose to do first something concrete on the ground, then build up to the policy level. So we select 3 provinces to represent different geographical regions, features and culture of Vietnam. We went to the provinces and even come lower to the community and district level, and we ran needs assessment exercise. We identify strong commitments and interests from the ground. Now we come to what we call the 4 pillars. The house has 4 pillars, okay? That's a traditional Vietnamese house. The 4 pillars that we are talking about in the Vietnam program are 1. Integrated decent work-based methodology. 2. Career guidance. 3. Advocacy with the policy makers. And 4. ICT-based communication system for rural youth. That's the 4 pillars in Vietnam. The 4 pillars are built on the solid ground, and the ground is the linkages between employers and workers' organizations and the authorities. Let me introduce what we do with each of the 4 pillars. Let's talk first about the integrated decent work-based methodology. It introduces modules on occupational safety and health, working conditions, rights at work, labor laws, non-discrimination, child labor. All that information, knowledge and skills are integrated in the Rural Youth Entrepreneurship Development Program. We select the parts of the ILO Small Enterprise Development Tools like SYYB, CBEC, Get Ahead, and put that all together to develop a tailor-made Rural Youth Employment Program for the rural area of Vietnam. Okay, so we finished the first training of trainer course last month, November. At the end of that course, the trainers developed an action plan to explain us how they want to introduce the modules and the home program back into the school. So based on that action plan, we work with VCCI, the Vietnam Chamber of Commerce and Industry, the largest employers organization in Vietnam. So VCCI will provide the follow-up and after-training support to our trainers, our partners later on. Okay, now let's come to the second pillar, that's career guidance. Okay, that's very new to Vietnam. We realize that it's very important to young people in Vietnam to realize what skills and careers are suitable to their interests, aptitude, and even more importantly, are in demand. So we think that it's very important that we have a program that is suitable to Vietnamese culture and mindset. We work closely with the headquarters in Geneva, and together we decided that we should invite an international expert. That expert will work with Vietnamese educators and trainers to adapt career guidance tools used in other countries and tailor-make a Vietnam package. We have finished that work, and since next month, January 2014, we'll start piloting the program in 12 schools and centers in the rural area. Let me jump to the fourth pillar and then come back to advocacy later, okay? The fourth pillar is ICT-based communication system for rural youth. The idea is to raise the voice of rural young people, to empower them by establishing a virtual forum for them to receive, transfer, and exchange information, needs, problems, and aspirations related to employment and training. We ran a small survey with more than 300 young men and women from the area we work with, 3 provinces. Okay? From that survey, we realized that internet, social networks are becoming more and more common in the rural area of Vietnam. But despite that fact, mobile phones are still the most popular and affordable for the rural area of Vietnam. So we decided that the ICT-based communication system should integrate interactive website and mobile phone applications. By that way, we can transfer and give information to rural young people from the remote area, ethnic minority groups, and disadvantaged groups. Those groups may not be able to access to internet through the computer. They prefer mobile phones, and mobile phones are more accessible for them. And even if we have such a system, we can reach much wider audience. We can reach the provinces and rural young people who live outside our 3 target provinces. Now we talk about advocacy with policymakers. We work to connect tightly action and policy. We established from the very beginning close contact and cooperation with key ministries, workers, and employers to explain them our approach. And now we are working at the local level with them on our activities. We introduce methodologies and tools to the 3 provinces that give us the action. And we closely monitor the impact of our action. So, by that way, we can have solid evidence to convince policymakers that the methodologies and tools that we are introducing on the ground are effective and should be integrated in the policies. So, following those 4 pillars, we come to the roof of our house, that's sustainable employment for rural youth in Vietnam. By the end of 2014, we expect to see some concrete outcomes. We are very confident that the approach will become part of Vietnam's policy, and we hope that this approach can be replicated to other countries. Thank you for your attention, and we look forward to collaboration.